Here on Beyond the Summit, we explore how health fuels wealth and how both unlock freedom. Our today's guest embodies that mission. I'm honored to welcome David Sharpe. Welcome, David. So glad that you're here today.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, Amir. Thanks for having me on.
Fantastic. Before we dive in, I always love to check in what's been occupying your mind lately.
Well, the main thing that I've been focusing on lately is I'm creating a startup. So I'm a founder of a new startup. It's called Datastone, and the initials of Datastone match my initials, Dave Sharpe, Datastone. And I've been generating a lot of ideas about what the mission of Datastone will be, as well as learning all about corporate governance, the articles of incorporation, all the different steps about that. So it's only been about a couple of months, but I would say that Datastone is standing, it's live, it exists. We're not walking yet, never mind running. So yeah, it's early stages for that endeavor.
I'm really glad that you have started that, so fantastic. And thank you for sharing that with us. This one's fun, what I'm going to ask you, because it's never simple. When someone asks you, so what do you do? How do you really answer these days, considering everything that's going on in the world?
Yes. I mean, it seems like a very complicated world and getting more complicated. I like to focus on what I can control. The question is, what do I do, right?
Yes, exactly. So how do you define that when some people ask you, so what are you doing these days?
Yeah, I think of myself as a pretty well-rounded person. So I'm doing the Datastone. It's a software, software solutions. So I'm basically a software developer at heart, an architect. But, I also, I have a full home life. I like to stay fit. I'm a big swimmer where we met at the swimming pool. I have a lot of interests around art and pottery. I'm a hobby potter and also get like art in my home. So I like to think that all of these different facets of my life, define me, and they all feed into each other.
I love that, so since you have considered different aspects of your life and you're focusing to make it balance, the overall balance of what you're enjoying in your life.
That's right.
It's lovely.
Yeah. Yeah, I do work hard to try and maintain balance, that's for sure.
That's great. Most people have a moment where their path of life shifted forever. What was that turning point for you? If you can walk us through, so did it exist? How did you feel when it happened? Kind of turning point.
Yeah, I can think back to many turning points, meeting my wife, but, and, she is such a great person. So shout out to Allie. But I think like on a personal level, my first degree was in geology, and I really loved studying geology and about how kind of the whole worth and systems, how systems work together. And I got a job as a geologist, and I was a field geologist, so I worked in the field, and that lasted I think about 3 or 4 years. And at that time, I was in the heavy metals geology. So gold was basically the name of the game, and the price of gold cratered. And me, myself, and everybody in my industry was pretty much laid off over a season. So I lost my job, and I had colleagues who also lost their jobs. And geology was like they were really good geologists, and that was their life passion. It was such heartbreak for them, but for me it was liberating. I don't think I was actually all that great a geologist. I felt like, you're standing on a mountaintop looking for gold. You might be the only person that had ever stood in that spot, and it's beautiful. And then you project into the future, and it's going to turn into an open pit mine if I'm successful at my job. That was kind of gutting, and just I never really understood all the ins and outs and what went into. I never felt like I could sort of wrap my mind about getting control of what I was actually doing. So I was always kind of doing things on other people's behest. So I lost my job, and Allie, my future wife, and I took a year to backpack around Southeast and Southwest Asia. So it was,
Wow.
yeah, it was pretty amazing. We did it on the cheap, living in hostels, meeting lots of interesting people. I was We were in northern India, and I was talking to other fellow travelers and locals, and kind of lit on this idea of, instead of doing continuing on the geology thing or going into sort of some kind of corporate life, I really got interested in computer science and reading some general interest books like Gödel Escher Bosch was a great book that I read at that time, and the
And
Dancing
you
Woolley
had,
Masters.
prior to that moment, you had no background in computer science.
I had taken computer science. I'm of a certain vintage. I was one of the first people in high school. I had taken a high school class. One of my high school teachers, my math teacher, had somehow got a grant to get like these old Atari computers. And so I'd really loved it at that time, but since then I had not really dabbled in it. Yeah, I was a neophyte. So I just basically got this interest from reading books on this in the north of India, and
Wow.
came home and re-registered to get a second degree, and went on to do a master's degree. And it was, yeah, I am a much better computer scientist than I ever was a geologist. That's for sure. So that was like losing my job at that time was one of the best things to happen to me.
So it can take us to the next question, but I don't know if it covers that or that would be different answer. Hard choices often shape us more than easy wins. Can you share one you faced and what it taught you?
I have a hard choice. I'm a person who I look to the future. I'm a pretty much an optimist. I don't really live with regrets too much. I feel like, so I don't like belabor too many things. I think a really hard choice for me, probably my first job out of university was at IBM, and it was in a software development research lab. And IBM treated me so great, and I had such great mentoring and colleagues and peers that I met at IBM. And over time, through different life choices, I had started to work remote from home, and I think I had been about in that kind of role for about 10 years. And it comes with pros and cons. Like, you have to work really, really hard to make the work remote thing work. But I thought I was doing a good job. Anyhow, higher up at IBM came in and had this mandate to go back to the labs, he called it. So, you had to be in the software lab at your desk 5 days a week, 48 weeks a year. And this was just not an option for me. It was really, really hard for me to leave IBM behind and go out and look for another, real job. I felt like IBM was like I would be an IBM lifer given the opportunity. So that was kind of wrenching. But to sort of put myself out there and actually look for a job after 20 years working at IBM was pretty tough.
This is very interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
So thank you for sharing that. So we often see the highlight reel, but rarely the cost. What's the unseen price of your success? Because I consider you as a successful person since we know each other and you have made a balance in your life. So what are those costs, that unseen price of your success that other people do not see that?
Yeah. Um, well, I think the biggest cost is, I love my job, and I love solving problems and thinking of solutions and dreaming up better ways of doing things. But the sad thing is, in the way that I do my work, I'm sitting at my desk for a lot of that time. And I think sitting and staring at a computer and thinking is really hard on a person. It's really hard on a person's body. So I think, yeah, the unseen cost is becoming so hyper focused and specialized on something like that. You give up flexibility. I do kind of wonder what it would be like to be like my granddad or some of my other ancestors who, were they were like the jack of all trades, and they knew how to do a lot of different things from, fixing the door on the house, fixing their car, fixing, my granddad built a porch on his deck or a porch on his house. Like these are things that are kind of beyond my grasp or my total understanding. I yeah, the thing is that it's being hyper focused, being hyper specialized comes with definitely with a cost. You got to fight hard against it though.
Yeah, of course. So we can agree on the fact that the world has changed, so, and then, yeah,
Yeah.
this is the new reality we are facing, spending more and more time in digital, atmosphere. But thank you for sharing that, So how do you feel paying this unseen cost of spending hours and hours in front of computers? So what makes it rewarding for you?
I really enjoy coming up with an idea that solves a problem that other people love to see the solution for. And sometimes people didn't even know they had the problem that I can dream up for solutions for. And like I like to know that my software is out there in the world solving actual real problems. That's brilliant.
This is good. We talked about, how the world is changed right now. So we all outgrow certain beliefs. What's one that used to guide you but doesn't anymore?
I thought I might be more in a leadership role. So, going to for the corner office. And in my career at IBM, I was a first line manager, and I really enjoyed that. And I had great mentors that were, second line and beyond corner suite executives. But it, yeah, I saw like, and I shadowed some of those people, and I have other people in my life who have that kind of job, and I think it's very sort of administrative. I found it very frustrating, frankly, to enter into that world. So I thought like there would be like a trajectory to the top of the organization, but I see that I'm more of a nuts and bolts kind of guy who likes to do design and architecture sort of things. So I'm in the design architecture side of accomplishments. I can leave the leadership to somebody else.
Is it fair to say rather than, climbing the corporate ladder, your mindset has shifted toward, creating something? Either
Exactly.
it can
Yeah.
be a solution for a problem or a pottery kind of vessel or these sort of things. Creation is more into uh perspective right now. Is that right?
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think if I had to define myself in one word, maybe it would be creator.
I love that. I love that. So as we discussed, so our show is about redefining freedom. For you today, what does freedom mean and how do health and money fit into that picture?
Yeah, I think freedom is to chase your dreams, to stay true to yourself, and be have the freedom to pursue those things. And you have to fight hard to gain those things. Having financial independence is really important for that. I think the fact that we live in the society that we do, you want to shore up those abilities to do those things and live in a just and fair society where other people can do it too. I think we can all be lifting each other up.
Since here on this show, we are going to explore different possibilities and everyone's definition of freedom is different. So does someone need to be super rich in order to feel that freedom, in your opinion, or everyone can have different level of freedom based on what they're looking for in their life?
Yeah, definitely. I don't think everybody has to be super rich to experience freedom. We have such a rich society and such an opportunity for that. I wish people would recognize the opportunities they have, and like I said, giving a hand out to help people up. I think there's a lot of people who just with a little bit of help could experience much more freedom and much more sort of satisfaction in their life and give so much more back.
If you want to give a role to money financial aspect, which is very important, it's undeniable, as you
Yes.
mentioned, and health, where do you put the role of health in actually feeling that kind of freedom we're talking about?
Yeah, health is so very important. So, you can't buy health, so to speak, but I do recognize that people with access to means and more education have healthier outcomes in their life for sure by, be it a large part of it is, access to nutritional knowledge and nutritional foods and taking care of your body, getting access to, you and I met at a swim club, so you have to pay to go swimming, and swimming is kind of like this, unfortunately, this kind of privileged activity. Somehow it's not super expensive, but to even have that interest and the time and the energy to do that is definitely sort of correlated to a person's wealth for sure.
Yeah, 100%. For me, swimming is lifesaver whenever I feel
Mm,
stressed, or even if I'm tired after a swimming session, I feel refreshed. I feel as if I'm born again, that kind
yeah.
of feeling. It is interesting. Everyone has a moment that nearly walked away. They actually gave up. For you, what was that moment and what kept you going? If you have experienced such a moment in your life.
Hmm. Well, I guess like when I did go back to university and started on my computer science degree, I was a mature student. It was it was hard for me to get through some of the course requirements. I just didn't understand like why was I studying, for example, third year calculus when I didn't really understand, what it was about. It just turned into like this rote memorization exercise for me. I forced myself to go to those classes and sit there and listen to the guy explain these super, super complicated calculus concepts. And I almost gave up. I mean, it was so hard for me to actually, because I just didn't see the point. Like, and yeah, I passed the course and it was just like, thank God I'm never going to do that again. But it was tough. Like it almost broke me.
So what kept you going? Was there any hope to just get it done, or what was the feeling that motivated you to keep going?
Well, I had this dream of being, a creator, a software solutions provider. That's what kept me going for sure. So I had a goal at the end that didn't involve calculus, but calculus was in the road for me. I
So
mean, I
if you,
wonder how many I wonder how many people are broken by calculus.
no, I understand, but we can, so put it into this perspective of people who are going to, maybe they are among our audience, they're going to give up right now. But if they think about the goal that
Yes.
they've had, even before they start, what they're doing right now, so they can keep them going.
Yeah. Well, I think,
Okay.
sort of going back to being a creator, when I'm when you think some people look at, like if I'm throwing a a pot on the wheel or going to a swim or designing software, people see in the end outcome and they don't see all the steps in between. And the main step at the very beginning is to have a goal. You really need, things have to be intentional. You don't just go and willy-nilly, throw some things together and it comes out looking good at the end. So being intentional, having a goal will get you through those rough patches.
Fantastic. No, I cannot agree more. So we are all shaped by others along the way. Who made the biggest mark on you, and what would you want to thank them for? I like this one.
Yeah, this is a good question. I mean, I've had many people in my life, my mom and my dad especially, but yeah, I'll have to go with Allie, my wife. I met her in my first degree, and she's so smart. Like a lot of the things that we're talking about now, she's so intentional. She works really hard, and I think a lot of people see what she accomplishes and things come easy to her, but I see from behind, all the intentional hard work and planning that she puts into her life and her career. It's really inspiring. So yeah, if I can learn and do 1/10 of what Ali does, that's a big accomplishment for me.
I have met Ali in person, and I know how nice lady she is. Yeah. Please say hello to Ali for me.
All right, will do. Thanks, Amir.
Thank you. You probably get a lot of opportunities. What's the lens or filter you use to decide which ones to say yes or no to?
Yeah, I do get a lot of opportunities, and sometimes you take on too much, and you can feel really scattered and stretched, and that is something I still struggle with for sure. So being able to say no is definitely hard. Keeping things in perspective that sometimes life is a zero-sum game. If I do have a weakness, I would say that is one that you just identified with that question, Amir. Good question. How do I say no more often?
Yeah,
Yeah,
this is
having a focus is hard for me. I do like to chase off different problems in different directions.
so for some occasions there is an analogy. I kind of like that, so when there are lots of things that you say yes to, you consider a knife which is putting here, and when you say yes, it hurts you. But when you say no, you get free. Yeah, sometimes no's are lifesavers at different
Yes, that's for
occasions.
sure.
Yeah, this is great. Growth can mean different things at different stages. What does it mean for you right now? And how do you keep your mind sharp and resilient?
Yeah, I think growth is really important to me. So I do think of myself as a lifelong learner. So I'm always trying to learn new things, and that can be through experiences. So like with pottery, we've mentioned a little bit, learning through my hands and your eyes. I'm a big reader, so I like to read quite a few, as well as keeping up to date with the world. For me, growth is, the more you know, the more you realize that you don't know. The world is a big, wide open place. So it's really interesting for me to keep learning and growing my knowledge. I would say that's the definition of growth for me.
Yeah, great for me personally. So if I'm in an environment that there is no growth anticipated, so for me at least personally, and I'm doing repetitive things
Yeah.
and I'm not feeling that I'm growing, that would be the end of that thing, whatever it is,
Yes. I
but I need to see.
I 100% agree with you. I do cut parts of my life that become repetitive for sure. Yeah, I'm not good at repetition.
But as long as you see the growth and feel you're doing something that, there is a growth associated with that, you're fine with it.
Yes, exactly.
Fantastic. Okay, let's do a thought experience if you agree.
Sure.
If you had to rebuild from scratch in 90 days, what would your playbook look like?
Build from scratch, like I
Yes.
lost my home, everything.
Yeah, from scratch.
Oh gosh.
Worst case scenario. Because
Yeah,
we
man.
have seen and heard this over and over, that successful people say, okay, I have learned this. So if I start from scratch, I know what to do. And I have my own playbook. What would it look like for you?
Yeah, you think about people in war-torn scenarios, for example, you would have to focus on what's important to you, right off the bat. I mean, like there's a worst case scenario, you need a place to live and food in your mouth. You got to provide for yourself. That would have to be number one. And
Let's make it practical. So you have 90 days. What would you do?
yeah, my God.
I know you need to think about it. Yeah, but I
Yeah,
put you
yeah.
on the spot right now.
No, it's good. It's good. Just while I organize my thoughts, one of the things that I do really keeps me grounded is I volunteer at the food bank, and seeing people often in crisis, but often need a little bit of help to, with increased rents, you got to pay your rent first, and then they don't have enough money to keep food on the table. You see people making really tough choices. So I think having 90 days like that, you really have to trim back to the bare essentials and do the important things first. Like I said, having shelter, means to have food, it would be probably kind of humiliating in a way, but ask for help from the people that reach out to your network. And
That's a good point. Yes.
yeah, I think it could be humiliating, but people love you. So
How do you use your skills and experiences, so the knowledge you have gained, so you still have them?
yeah, then you would start to work your network, especially your professional network, to get back into the game, to find the person that could use your skills to that, and just scramble hard to get your foot in the door, to be making a difference. I think having the network and using your network is probably key to success.
What I see, what I hear, you're saying, so you're not giving up.
No, never.
You're relying on your skills and experience and people who you love and they love you, in order to. Yes,
Yeah,
that's great. That's great. Thank
yeah,
you.
yeah. You're welcome.
This isn't about the question that I'm going to ask you is not about dollars. It's about meaning. What's the deeper lessons money has taught you?
Yeah, money is a means to better experiences. I think I've it's not like money is like water through my fingers, but I definitely do not try to accrue more money. But you think about the travels that I've had and experiences in different cultures, even going out to a nice restaurant and having like a chef present their vision for a particular experience of an evening, going to concerts, shows, even doing like pottery and swimming and so on. These things are not all cheap or free. So I think all of these things,
That's
money
reality,
is
yes. Let's face it.
about the getting the experience.
I see. So for you, money is not the end goal. It's the
No.
mean to get to goals that matter into your life.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. I love that. I love that. So for me, the same thing, so, but unfortunately, we've seen cases that money is considered as the end goal. And the more greedy you become, so the less satisfied in your life, you'll be.
Yeah, that's right. Well, I do see, like, I mean, one of the things that I notice about society right now is I think there's this capitalist drive to accrue more wealth, and I my personal feeling is that leads to a lack of empathy in the world. And I think empathy is a basic human trait. It's basic, it's sort of nascent in a lot of people. It can be learned and taught, and I wish there was more of it.
Yes. And something that really bothers me these days is the level of indifference that
Yeah,
people are experiencing around the world. It's not, limited to certain
yeah,
country, so it's around the world, as long as you're happy and you're fine. It's very sad and unfortunate that I'm saying this, but indifference is one of the biggest problem humanity is facing right now.
right.
Empathy is the key, as you mentioned. Yeah, we need to promote it at personal level as much as we can.
Yeah, a little bit of empathy by everybody can make a big difference. It's not like you have to be a bleeding heart and help every person that you meet. But if everybody was doing just a little bit more, it would be a big game changer.
Absolutely, absolutely. I believe health fuels wealth. That's the motto of our show here, Beyond the
Yeah,
Summit. How
right.
do you keep body, mind, and spirit aligned so you can sustain your energy, which is crucial?
Yeah. I mean, I love the feeling of, I don't know, being active, being physically active, going for a hike, going for a swim, swimming. So, yeah, Amir and I met swimming. And just to give a little bit of background, we belong to organization called Master Swimming. We meet for an hour and a half a night, 3 times a week. And we swim, like maybe between 3 and 5 kilometers. So, you're working hard, but that feeling of being in the water and moving through the water as fast as you can with coaching help, getting feedback with your teammates, it's awesome.
Yeah, that's physical part. How about mind and spirit? Is there
Yeah.
any routine that you have for those parts as well?
Yeah. Well, and even like with swimming, so I watch YouTube videos talking to people about the technique. So swimming can, actually be a little bit of a meditation to think about, the technique, and it feels good inside your soul. I mean, and you try to bring that whole mind, body, spirit thing like into swimming, into other facets of your life. Like I really like cooking, so I'm always trying to think up new ways to cook new dishes. I think this was like a side effect of COVID. I really, really got into cooking, as a lot of people did. But reading about cooking, watching shows on cooking, getting whole foods. I go to the farmers market a lot, and it feels good to sit down to a meal that you've prepared and sort of dreamed up yourself. You have like a recipe and you modify it, to make something new, and it tastes good, and it's good for you, nutritionally as well as to your soul. And all of these different things, you can try to kind of unify them by bringing them together and doing it. It doesn't have
I,
to be so sort of rigid, you can have it a little bit kind of softer.
I really like the way that you're putting these things together. So just doing daily activities, you're doing them in a way that can help your mind and body, and spirit all together. So I know you're doing yoga, I do meditation, but not necessarily, so you have to do those certain activities in order to, keep everything aligned. But
Yeah,
yeah, as you mentioned, just cooking a meal and smelling different smells and tasting different flavors and enjoy what you have created, so these are all good feelings, that can help your mind and body, align. I love that. I love that the way that you put it. Yeah.
thanks, Amir.
Thank you.
It's nice to think about and talk about it with you too.
Yeah, of course. I love learning about the small things that create big impact. What
Right.
are your non-negotiable daily habits? I like this one as well.
Well,
And to be honest, I have thought a lot about the questions that I'm going to ask in order
yeah,
to
that's a
make you
good
think.
question. Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, non-negotiable. It's not so much non-negotiable, but I really enjoy when I first get up in the morning, and I usually, depending on the weather, I go and sit on my deck. I often have a cat with me. We, sort of watch the sun come up, and I'll have my first cup of coffee, which I, pull from hand by hand and an espresso maker into one of my own pottery cups, and just kind of, soak in the coming up of the sun. I really, that is like a pretty important habit for me.
This is great, so you enjoy a cup of coffee, so in a pottery that you have created yourself. So what a feeling.
Yeah,
And cats, tell me about it. So
I
my
know.
cat, they're lovely. They're lovely.
Yes.
So imagine one of our audience feels stuck today. What's the first three things you tell them to do this week?
Yeah, I would say instead of focusing on what you're stuck on, try to find a passion. Try to find something that you want to achieve, not something that's kind of blocking you. Think of in the positive sense. Design, pick a goal. Pick pick the think about why that's important for you, and then set up some things that you can do to achieve your goal. And instead of procrastinating or thinking about problems that will block you, just pick a step and do it. This is
Yeah,
this is the way.
yeah, just do the thing.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, just take the
There's
action.
so many problems and friction in the world, and I totally get it. Life is hard, and people do get curveballs and get major problems. So I don't want to minimize those things, but there's also opportunities out there. So you got
It's easier said than done, yeah, but
for
you're
sure.
right. Focus is something, so what it what matters the most to you, so and you need to laser focus on that thing.
Yeah,
Again, I cannot put more emphasis on this. It's easier said than done, but just focusing on the objective, what matters to you the most, and keep going, regardless of, all the obstacles and ups and downs. It happens
yeah.
to everyone. This is life. Otherwise, it would be, so utopia. If you had a megaphone to bust one myth about success, freedom, or happiness, what would it be?
I would say similar to what we already talked about. Money is not the end. You are you are on a fool's errand if you think that achieving more money will bring you happiness. You gotta have a full life and have take time to find people in your life that like and enjoy. Relationships and personal achievements over money every time.
I see. Okay, so now are you ready for time travel, David?
Okay,
Let's time travel. 10 years
sure.
from now, what would make you proud when you look back?
Hmm.
That's a good
10
one,
years.
isn't it?
Yeah, that is a good one. 10 years from now, what would make me proud?
When you
I
look
think,
back.
yeah, if I keep growing, if I achieve more creative processes that and then get them under my belt to learn more to make the world a better place, I would be very proud of that.
So we are on the same page regarding what you just said. So making the world a better place, even a tiny bit,
Yes.
even a tiny bit. No, I love that. So and then if we can do that, yeah, if I can do that personally, so I feel great about it.
Yeah.
And next question that I'm going to ask you, I think about it a lot of times, and this is a big one. When people think of you after you're gone, what do you want them to feel?
I don't think about that. Yeah, I'm kind of I'm a person that's in the moment. I hope I'm well remembered, well liked. I don't want to. Hmm, yeah,
Let's
I
put
just
it in
hope that
different
I'm.
way. What would you like your legacy to look like?
I don't know. I hope I people don't have regrets about anything that I did. They don't feel negatively impacted. Yeah, I hope
It's a very personal question, and there is no right or wrong answer for that. So it's totally personal. And thank you for being
yeah.
open to that, and sharing. Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
So for me,
I don't
so
have any grand. I don't have any grand aspirations. I don't want to have a statue put up for me or anything
no,
like that.
David the First.
Yeah,
So for me, as long as I remembered, in a nice way, so that would be fine too. Yeah,
yeah.
perfect. So I love ending with action. If you could challenge our audience with one thing this week, what would it be?
I would say pick a goal, make a plan, and build something beautiful. Create something that you are proud of. And if you can, make it look easy doing it.
As the last thing before we end this wonderful conversation, so are there any books movies, or any medium that you want to recommend, one or two that they have they have had a great impact on your life, at least at part of your life or on certain subject that you want to share with the audience.
Hmm.
Anything that
Well,
comes to your mind now.
yeah, sure. I mean, right off the bat, Ali's a Greek historian, and I've read and reread Homer's The Odyssey. Love that book, and it teaches so much. I think I've I've read it multiple times and always in translation, so I don't have the skill to read in the ancient Greek, but I love picking up a new translation, and there's new translations coming out all the time, and you just can't stop learning from it. And even the translators bring so much to it. So I would highly recommend the Homer Odyssey. That's a book that stands the test of time. And Odysseus is, yeah, he's the best. Yeah, there's one for you.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much, David. Thank you for taking your time today. I really personally enjoyed talking to you, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, and likewise, Amir. It was a great experience for me too. Very interesting for me to think through these questions that you posed to me. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you.